So Lamerol, you're from St. Louis. Talk about your process.
Well, the process is quite complicated because I use a lot of different paint mediums. I'm using iridescent colors, I'm using crayons, I'm using charcoal, I'm using oil sticks, I'm using acrylic paint, and so I'm combining all these different mediums. Am I going to use interference colors? Am I going to use, did I say glitter? Am I going to do the drawings first? Am I going to do the paintings? Once I have all this laid out, I'm creating paintings anywhere from 22 by 30, 40 by 50, 50 by 60, 60 by 70, they're huge panels. Then there's the putting together of the images or the shapes. What kind of shapes am I going to use? You know, people walk in and say, oh, why are you tearing these up? Well, that's just the beginning process of the collage making series. I like to use the term, I'm reconstructing or deconstructing the paintings once they're all painted. Once I have 4 or 5, maybe 10 paintings, or I call them panels as well, then I make that decision, what shapes am I going to start making out of these paintings. So I rip them, I tear the paintings, and then I reconstruct those paintings to make a whole. And so that's what you see behind me is a large piece. I think it's like 100 by 122 inches.
Let's talk about a few of the concepts that you work with. Let's talk about color.
Color means everything to me because I'm a colorist. If you've been to art school, you'll know what I'm talking about. How do you make a red look like a green or a blue look? By just placing and using different color backgrounds. I breathe color. Color is how I think and how I'm going to respond to an individual.
What about light?
Light is a part of the color concept, and I have figured out how to use light in either pushing my color brighter or lowering the intensity of the color red or yellow or blue. It is a concept that I've learned how to use over the years with adding different additives to my paint to allow them to be translucent, because I want you to see all the layers in the paintings and again, some layers may be 5 layers, it may be 10 layers. I want you to see all of those layers. And so I figured out how to create that illusion of looking through all the paint layers. And light has a great part to do with that. And also you'll see black and white in my work as well. Let's not forget black and white. Very important. You gotta have a balance somewhere. And how do you balance between color, black, white, gray? You learn all that in art school.
What about movement?
Movement, if you look at my paintings behind me, it's all about movement. It's all about form. It's about shape. It's about the idea of breathing. Because the paintings, they pulse. They have this feeling of, I want to say, eroticism, design. You know, it's about the female form. It's about the male form. It's about the Trinity concept. It's about religion.
And how does music play a role in what you do?
It's in my being. And so when I'm moving around the paper or the canvas or the collage, I'm always listening to music. And the music is transcending me to another space. You know, it's like I'm on an intergalactic trip, an art trip. you know, I'm not on Earth anymore. I'm just out there. And so that's what strives me to keep moving. And when I feel like I've like gone off on the deep end, I said, oh my God, I need to come back. How do I get back? When you look at my line concepts and you look at my rest spaces where you see open areas, those are breathing spaces. It's like the musician says, well, I'm going to put a note here, but we're going to rest. So the same thing applies to the paintings. I need to give the eye or your eye a moment to rest, and then I'll move on, because abstract can get very busy at times. But how do you put all these things together that will allow your eye to rest and then move on? I want people to know that the paintings are about what's going on in America now. I want people to be able to look by the paintings and stop and feel my energy and feel my intensity. So I paint with a lot of energy. The series for the last 3 or 4 years is called the Energy Series. And when people, I've had collectors and dealers come over and they look at the paintings, they say, oh, this feels like energy. So I don't even have to tell them the title of the paintings, because a lot of times many of the people that have come to the studio feel it already. It's about that energy that I put out, and I'm receiving it back. That's the humanity of the paintings. The early process, before I started developing this series, I would literally sit down and draw the patterns or the shapes in my drawing book. Later on, after a time period of maybe 1 or 2 years passed, I decided that my patterns were beginning to look all the same. I needed to explore different, so I'm doing them just at that moment. Whatever comes out, that's what's going to happen. It's almost like quilt making, and you're piecing these patterns together. I just put things together now, and they seem to work. I know when they don't work, and that's the easy part. The hard part is figuring out how they do work.